when you're doing cash discount, your list price is just the price.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your discounted price is something else.
Right.
Right? And that's for any card, doesn't matter.
Right.
But we actually have seen more and more. I mean, so we have a junk fee law here in California,
right,
where you can't charge over, well, I think 4%, and then there's disclosure requirements. Now, obviously, the card brand rules, Visa's got a different number, and I think MasterCard
3%.
Yep, and I think MasterCard will migrate its way down there at some point. But here, right, we've got people violating that junk fee law all the time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's rampant. I mean, way more than you think, and not like mom and pop, like big restaurant groups,
sure.
like, and they're surcharging not just debit. We've had one instance where they surcharged just a cash payment.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah,
yep.
Totally.
Welcome to the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, like merchants, ISOs, processors that are on the East Coast, they won't show up at NEAA, but they will show up at SEAA or MWAA because nobody knows them there.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends, and that, which is why I like to go. You find new things as you go to these shows. But I'm finding less and less of the bad actors there. And, which is nice because, I was on the floor and I actually, obviously you say I'm not a small guy. And one of the people from one of these companies came at me on the middle of the floor.
We're at NEAA?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And I looked over, at the owner of his business. I said, you better take care of this guy. You're going to be down one vice president of sales.
Does he happen to be on the board?
No.
Okay.
No. They don't. Well, actually, they were. This company, I think they're starting to get their act together. But they were at NEAA this year. There's a lot of people that come to recruit ISOs and agents, and God bless them. But I have like Justin Volrath.
You're giving names.
No, I don't have anything bad to say about Justin. We work together at other companies.
He's actually a pretty nice guy.
He is.
Yeah,
he
for
is.
sure.
And he does.
And this is from a guy who sued him. So like, but he's actually, I met him a couple times and he's actually been really nice.
He is a nice guy.
Yeah.
But look, you gotta say what you're going to do and then do what you say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, credibility, is hard to come by. And I find myself apologizing to merchants for those that came before me. That's how I start all my conversations. I said, look, I just want to apologize to you for anything that may have happened to you in the past.
Yeah.
It's not who we are. It's not what we do.
Yeah.
And we have, another example. I have a pizzeria in Brooklyn, New York, and they're not a small, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 pizzeria. They're multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we put a POS in there. We had, in the span of 6 months, 604 documented problems with the system. So I made the decision to pull it out. And I try to contact the POS company to see if we could work something out so I can give it back to them. They didn't talk to me. So I then put it out on LinkedIn about how bad they were, and I named them. I didn't care. I prefaced the whole conversation by saying, in my opinion.
Yeah, which you have to do.
Right?
Yeah.
And within the span of a week, I got phone calls from about 150 ISOs and agents, none of which I think are going to use them. They were thinking about it, but they're not going to go there. And if you want to damage yourself in this business, be bad at what you do.
Yeah, it's interesting because on that side of things, it's hard to speak freely, even on something like a podcast. Like everything in this is just my opinion, and a lot of times it's just on my narrow view of what's being presented to me, because there could always be other things that take place.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, not every, but a lot of the responses that come back when you make a stand and say your opinion are cease and desist letter. I'm going to sue you. Yada yada yada. It's like, look. Absolute truth is a defense. Like if I documented all the problems, I documented them.
Well, and Jeremy said no names.
Yeah.
So I'm not naming I mean, but
no, I get it. But it's interesting that because we try to stay away from that because we worry about it ourselves.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of things that are going on out there, and I'm always look if there's anybody that we're harping on this show more than anyone else. It's the card brands.
Yep.
Right?
Please.
Because there's a lot of things that happen that are structurally, inherently, either they're conflicted or it's just predatory. And so for me personally, I go at them. They don't care about me. They're never going to say anything about me. Like,
right.
Like they're nobody the card brands is watching me. Like I feel pretty self-assured about that. But
can we talk card brands for a second?
Sure.
Can I talk to you about that?
Please.
So, dual pricing, surcharging, and cash discounting. 3 totally separate programs.
Well, I would say dual pricing and cash discount are basically intermeshed, and surcharging and
not New York.
No. I get it. I get it, and I do think that there's distinction between the 3.
Yeah,
but the dual pricing, at least from the card brand's perspective, they just have adopted New York's legislation. Well, so this is the rule now, at least for outside of legislation.
Well, yeah, but so the common man that walks the street, that walks into a store, and you say, we charge 4%, and you're given a debit card, or you can't charge my debit card. Yeah, we can,
but you can't.
No, you can with dual pricing.
No. But that's the thing. Because we do a lot of consulting on this,
right?
When you're doing cash discount, your list price is just the price,
right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Your discounted price is something else, right? And that's for any card, doesn't matter,
right?
But we actually have seen more and more. I mean, so we have a junk fee law here in California,
right,
where you can't charge over. Well, I think 4%, and then there's disclosure requirements. Now, obviously, the card brand rules, Visa's got a different number, and I think MasterCard
3%.
Yep, and I think MasterCard will migrate its way down there at some point. But here, right, we've got people violating that junk fee law all the time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's rampant. I mean, way more than you think, and not like mom and pop, like big restaurant groups,
sure.
Like. And they're surcharging not just debit. We've had one instance where they surcharged just a cash payment.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Totally. Matt got surcharged on cash.
That's wild.
Yeah, totally.
So in New York, which is its own universe, right? My pizzeria, menu boards across the entire store. Well, when these rules first came out. You got to change your menu boards.
Yeah, that's why you got to go digital now.
And so I ended up buying him digital cameras, but digital screens.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing was, because he got a letter from the Attorney General's office, the pricing rotates every 5 seconds. Cash price, credit price. Took a video, sent it to the Attorney General's office. They signed off on it. Great. But what Visa started doing, it used to be back in the day, if you violated one of the rules, they'd give you a heads up. Hey, by the way, you're doing this the wrong way. You've got 30 days to fix the problem or we're going to fine you.
Yep.
Now?
$5,000.
Right away.
It's
no warning.
It's 1,000. And then it's 5. So let me give you 2 instances where it's even different than that. I got a guy who runs a POS company, focuses primarily on gas stations and liquor stores, right? Usually like it's a immigrant group, like Indians. Here in San Diego, we have a big Chaldean population.
Right.
And they own like all the liquor stores, right? I mean, you walk in, chances are if it's a liquor store, it's owned by Chaldeans. So this is one of those things where they have a tight margin. So surcharging and cash discounting, it makes sense. So a lot of them, and this POS company, they build in the efficiency tools for the surcharge, so it almost to try to make it dummy proof, so that they won't find themselves in violation. We had a guy that called me where there was a purchase and sale of the liquor store in this cultural group. The name was the same of the liquor store, new legal entity, new MID, new EIN, new everything, right? New owner got hit with a surcharge violation, $5,000. POS company calls and says, well, why is it $5,000? Like, this was a first offense. I don't know how Visa was doing it, if it was just the physical address of the place. No, this is their second violation. It can be their second violation. It's a whole new owner.
Well, they have secret shoppers.
That's the second one I'll tell you about.
Yeah.
Secret shopper had a guy. Everything was right in the store. He'd gotten everything done from the POS company as far as giving him some sort of direction and controls, tutorial on how to properly do cash discount or surcharging, right? This guy used to put old pricing gun stuff out there. The secret shopper, right? You go anywhere else in the store, they had done digital pricing, okay? There was and there was a picture of it, old tag from the price gun on top of a Tide bottle, which skewed. The secret shopper grabbed that, even though the rest of the store is totally compliant, walked up and made a purchase, and for 40 cents, these guys got banged $5,000.
Wow.
Because they'd gone and taken the efforts, right? I mean, we see it too.
Well, I had a merchant that they took $25,000.
Yeah.
Right. And, these were the immigrants. They work hard. They had a Persian bakery. I was surprised that they were able. That guy had over $200,000 in his bank account, but doesn't look at his emails. And that's the way they were sending these notifications by email, so he wasn't looking. So I figured out what the problem was. I fixed the problem, right? I put all, with dual pricing, I put signage up all over the place for him. I didn't know that he had to do some DocuSign document, and it was due by a certain date. I was 4 days late because that's on the fourth day, they took $21,000 more. The guy was like, and I fought like hell. I got his money back for him. And then one day I go in to give him some paper. It's got somebody else's terminal on the counter.
Wow.
I said, there's love for you. Now he's on the match list because, he owed $25,000 and I wasn't going to get in the way of that. But, it's this, and New York is rampant with secret shoppers. Rampant. But that's what they're doing. And, I have the same issue like with POSs. Some companies will, if they're doing dual pricing, will start with the cash price and go up, as opposed to the credit price
and go down. Yeah.
Well, that presents a different problem for the merchant, because when you go from the top down, your sales number is kind of artificially inflated. So they're, when they fill out their sales tax reports, I've got to be very, very, specific with them. I said, everything that you collected, all that 4%, that has to be deducted from your total sales because it's not taxable.
Well, the other thing that's difficult, right, is most of the legislation says you can, even the rules say it, you can surcharge, but you can't make a profit. Yeah. So, and
figure that one out.
Totally. Really? Who gets the 3%, right? Or who gets the 4%? Because the effective rate is, or the whatever the actual rate of acceptance, right, is not going to be 4%. People are making a profit off this all over the place.
Well, because most of the processors tell you, okay, if you're going to dual price at 4%, the flat rate price is 3.8461. Well, okay, somebody's making money there. I mean,
yeah,
so I mean, I always tell the merchant, that you'll make a little bit, but it'll cover anything, like a PCI fee or something like that. But, I'm waiting to see somebody get audited over that one.
Well, generally speaking, if you're doing it right, the surcharge overage on credit card actually makes up for the debit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but who knows? And I would be very interested to see, somebody do the math problem on that one.
No.
Yeah, because it's almost impossible. Like if you wanted to charge 2.95, 3%, good luck getting to it. Like squaring the circle on that.
And the other problem I think that people are having, like if you're doing surcharging, you have to register with the brands.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do that.
Well, here's an interesting thing. I had an ISO that works with Card Connect, and
see, he mentions names.
we no.
Yeah.
It was it was interesting because we had gone back and forth, and I can't remember which card brand it was for, but for one of them they were like, well, my merchant wants to do surcharging, so I'm giving you notice, to give notice to Visa or MasterCard, whichever one it was, right? And for one of them, they were auto-enrolled into surcharging, and Card Connect said, well, you can do surcharging immediately. And we were like, well, hold on, though. Like, here's the conundrum. If for whatever reason, in the first 30 days, the merchant gets hit for a surcharge violation, and they're not even supposed to be surcharging, and then the merchant can't pay it, then that's on the ISO.
Right.
And the ISO is right now asking you, hey, what do I do in relation to this? Because I'm trying to give you notice and then give the merchant the date upon which they can start to surcharge. And I can't remember if it was, did he give direct notice to the card brands? Did he do it through Card Connect? But Card Connect said, well, we automatically enroll everybody in one of the card brands. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, go back and ask them to talk to the compliance people. They said that came from the compliance person.
Right. Well,
I'm like, which I thought was interesting because even at that level, right? To me, there's confusion or there's things that happen that could end up with unintended outcomes.
no, sure.
But and ones which at the end of the day, if there's a fine that's assessed to a merchant, if the merchant doesn't pay it, the ISO has to pay it.
Yeah, well, that's what scares the ISOs. But the other issue is with that kind of stuff. Back in the day, when everybody was showing non-cash adjustments on the receipt, which now in New York that's like a big no-no. But the attitude of the agents and the ISOs, well, we're going to do it this way because it's easy, and if they get slapped on the wrist, we'll fix it. But you can't do that anymore because if they get slapped on the wrist, that's automatic money out of their account.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of companies, that are, want to make sure they get it right, and we put the signage out like we're supposed to. Some of these restaurants and stuff, you can't, you can only do so much with menus, and they only have so much money to spend.
Well, I'd like to know what the financial terms are between the secret shoppers and the card brands.
I have no idea.
Well, that's what I would like to know.
They probably get a nice piece of change.
Well, that's my question. Like, is it commission based? Is it a percentage? Like, it seems to me that when the secret shoppers are out there, like the idea of the regulation is to stop bad practices. To go out and to find the minute mistake and
it's predatory. It's predatory.
And financially penalize people for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It becomes it's sort of like when you knee-jerk legislation and then all of a sudden you have these unintended outcomes that are really inequitable. It's the same thing to me. Like a lot of times an event happens, we pass legislation and then it gets abused somehow, right? Same sort of thing.
There are reps out there that cause these problems. They go out looking for it, and what they'll do is they'll drop a dime on a restaurant or any business, and then they'll
go in and resell.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. And I mean, I've gotten calls from restaurants and other merchants that say, "Look, I know this guy did it. I can't prove it, but I don't want anything to do with him. Can you fix this for me?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I mean, I could fix it. I don't know if I can get you your money back, but." We'll try to fix it any way we can.
That reminds me, there was another one I saw. Restaurant group, Pittsburgh. 5 different companies, all with their own EIN.
Yep.
They had a $1,000 fine. Different restaurant, but part of the same restaurant group, all different companies, all different operations, just had crossover ownership.
Right.
One of the other restaurants got a surcharge violation, $5,000. First one for them, though.
Right.
So now they're aggregating these companies by crossover ownership.
I don't know if they could do. I mean,
I don't think they can do it, but they're doing it, right?
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
That is. Chris, you mentioned the secret shoppers and what compensation they're getting. I've brought this up before and I haven't seen one since, but I'll try to pay attention to it. I've seen them on TikTok talking about what they do, literally these secret shoppers, and they're bragging about how much money they're making each month. They're kind of saying it like in a promotional way. Hey, you can do this too, become a secret shopper. And so I'm going to look out for those more, Chris, if I can find them.
And the whole time, it's the card brands making money.
100%.
Right? I mean, that's the crazy part. It's pitting people against one another in a system that you operate and control.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some fixes? Like, what do you...
Well, I the biggest fix is, we talk about education, not only educating your merchant, but let's just try educating the people boots on the ground. Because a lot of times they'll say whatever they can say to get a sale. They don't care, and if you get slapped in the head over it, oh, well, because also, there's a difference between the rep that sells you and comes back to visit you from time to time to make sure that you're okay. And then there's the rep
who got flown into town to be there for a week.
And you never see him again.
Yeah, totally.
Because I go all the time and I talk to people and it's like, do you know who your rep is? No. When was the last time you saw your rep? Never saw a rep.
But that's the thing. I want referral business. That's the problem with Stripe. It's a technology company. Like, oh yeah, you can get a merchant account, but then try talking to somebody about it.
Right. Well, same thing with Square.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I tell people all the time, if you're an average $40 ticket merchant and all of a sudden somebody comes to you and says, can you cater this party? And it's like $6,000. Good luck seeing that money next day.
Yeah, exactly.
It just won't happen. So, I think, education on all sides, the merchants, and even some of the owners of these ISOs, all they did was, they worked for, a TSYS or a Global or, whoever, and they got a feel for the business. And then they said, well, now I can go out and start my own company because I know everything there is to know about merchant services. I've been doing this for over 35 years. I learn something new every day.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't, there's so much to know. So these people aren't educated. And what they do is they hire reps. This ISO that I worked for in Chantilly, Virginia, their whole formula was bring people in. They'd hire 25, 30 people, train them all together, let them go out. Some of them will sell one or two accounts, and then you get rid of them.
Yeah.
But you got the accounts. So that was their model. So, they don't really know what they're doing. And there's still a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing.
Well, it's interesting to me, like, one of the things that we've done, especially for marketing, is, we use HubSpot. And HubSpot's a really powerful tool, and it'll integrate with other software systems. But one of the things I wanted Jeremy to do is I said, look, we should just be gathering information once, right? But we should also be, when we do gather information, just spitting out like a questionnaire to people to give us further information so that when they come to us and we start to talk to them, we've got much more at our disposal. I think it's the same thing with retention, right? No. I have no idea why there isn't some sort of retention form that goes out, because HubSpot would do it, where we've been hitting people up to get video testimonials for us,
right?
Because I think those are powerful, not just like, somebody writing something, but saying something. Right. And I want to do all of that through a system that actually utilizes, like, look, I'll even give you a Starbucks gift card. Like, just respond to me, right?
Right.
But I think it's one of those things where retention, I don't know why it's not utilized more often.
Well, retention is probably the most important tool you should have in your tool belt. Because, one day you'll look up and you're going to go, where did all my business go?
Yeah.
The other thing is these certifications that we get, the CPP, Certified Payment Professional, to take that test, $700.
Yeah.
If they had something educational where you can get a certification that maybe wouldn't cost so much, then you can enroll your reps, let them get certified. So at least this way they have some modicum of what they're doing.
Well, it's interesting you say that because like ETA, and look, I don't dislike ETA by any stretch, because I do find it to be at times a wealth of information.
Yeah.
But it went from a trade association to a lobbying group, and so its scope is much larger than it used to be, and I think that they lost touch with the ISO agent, like because that's not who's really an ETA member. You go to ETA these days. The people that are there, you're much better off at an acquiring conference for the regionals. Like
Sure.
you're gonna see more people who are face to face with the merchants. The ETA is it's your macro. Like it's not what it used to be, and I think the ETA CPP program's good.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like there needs to be something that is a little bit more for the common man.
Right. And there's not. I mean, I look at that and keep saying to myself, I've been at this 35 years. I mean, do I want to spend $699 to get those letters after my name? And at this point in my life, is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. But, not, I mean, I'm not going to pay for my, my boots on the ground to go do that. And I mean, that's because to me, that would be just pissing money away.
But that's the other thing is within the industry, I think it helps you. With the merchant, I'm not really sure how much it helps you.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I'm at this stage of my life and in my career that I'm closer to the end than I am to the beginning. I mean, we're starting to talk and about an exit plan. My wife keeps hounding me. She wants a house at the beach. And I said, well, yeah, when we sell the business. Oh, when is that going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
But like the reason that I came to San Diego, aside to meet with you fine gentlemen, is because a bunch of people from college, we get together every couple of years, and this is the city that we picked. And everybody except one of my lawyer friends who he'll retire in December, but I'm the only one that's not retired. And when somebody said, well, why are you not retired? I said, why?
Because I want to live longer.
Well, yeah, but you know what? It's not even that. I mean,
no, keep your mind active. Keep your person active, right? Like,
but I could stay in bed all month long and wake up, and there's money in the account because it just keeps coming.
No, I get that, but like, look, I say this all the time. I work a lot. Jeremy can attest to it, and I'm usually the first guy in, last guy out, most days. But I do think about it would be awesome to have 6 months off in a row, right? I mean,
I'll tell you, Chris talks about it a lot.
Yeah.
He never actually does that, but he talks about it. Yeah.
So let me ask you, when was the last time you went on vacation?
Oh, no. I take spot vacations all the time.
Right. But do you take your laptop with you?
So
are you in touch with the office?
So I will say this. Jeremy and I went to a music festival in Mexico about a month ago.
Okay.
And we weren't necessarily off the grid, but for where we were, we camped in the jungle. Civilization wasn't far.
It felt off the grid.
But it felt off the grid because we were sleeping in tents and like yurts and stuff.
Right.
I did not look at my phone or my email for 3 days. And now it was a lot coming back, but I mean, I will say this, like, because I actually do take time off, and when I leave this building, generally speaking, I check out.
Right.
Like whatever I'm doing, I'm a very much wherever I am is where I am, and that's where my focus and my attention is. And if my wife calls me while I'm sitting in front of my computer at work, she gets a very
terse.
No, it's not terse. It's just I'm fragmented,
Ah.
and I'm not really attentive necessarily as I would be if
Right.
I were at home or we were on a walk or something else, because I'm a very like presence type person.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to potentially like have some time, but I don't think I want to stop working. Like
No.
my dad's 76, and I think that's what keeps him going on the daily.
Shit,
if he
I'm almost
challenges
76.
Wow, well, look at that. But
I mean, look, last summer we spent 3 weeks in Italy.
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but my phone rang every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't cloud too much, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Interestingly, I don't get calls from merchants. That just doesn't happen. I may get a random call saying, "Hey, can you send me a case of paper rolls?" But it's mostly from my reps who are just sometimes lazy as shit. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
But I don't miss a beat. I mean, I'm sitting on a beach in Santorini, where was I, in Sicily, and I'm looking at a volcano up here that's popped its top. And
in Catania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Catania. Well, we were in Taormina.
Yeah, I lived there. When I was really little, my dad was a naval aviator.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there's a Signal Air Base is right there.
Yeah.
There.
That's
But,
cool.
so, I'm on the beach and I'm talking, I'm taking care of shit. And they don't, the reps, the employees, don't care. Like today, I get off the plane. I mean, I had 5 hours of silence. That was great. I get off the plane. As soon as I walked out of the airport, the phone started going.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I always say to people, you've been at this for 15 years. Can't you take care of this yourself? Well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sounds like my kids.
Really?
Well, this is a 58, 60-year-old man.
Yeah, you're enabling.
Yeah, right. I am enabling. So, going back to things that, we talk about education on all sides. I think support is a big thing. I don't want to hear, your call is very important to us. Please hold for the next 3.5 days.
Yeah,
and
totally.
we'll get back to you. Or they don't answer the phone at all. So I think, support, is a big thing.
Yeah, I had a client last night. He's in the middle of a transaction. He wants to get it done, but still wants to be diligent in how we get it done. And a pretty important email came through with some feedback from the other side. And I had already left, so I kind of like just looked at the email as I was driving to it where I was going. I go for a hike every day, and I was driving to it, and I thought I was going to talk to my daughter a lot longer than I did on my hike. And so when I was done, I was like, I'll just call him, and just let him know, hey, I got the email. If you have anything that you want to tell me, just email, to me. But customers, like clients, customers, they just appreciate like, hey,
Right.
I saw it,
But what you do, it's not like you can teach, like maybe not teach Whitney how to do what you do or answer those questions, because that's your expertise. I mean, that's what you get paid for.
Yeah, but you want to know something? It amazes me for the people that we have in this building that are so smart, right? You can't teach them customer service. I mean, he'll attest to it. Like
100%.
they don't get it.
You don't
like
get
Right.
you either grow up working
Yep.
in a context where you understand that the quality of the interaction with the person that you're servicing matters, right? Or you
Right.
don't, right?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting.
Well, interestingly, my dad, when he was working, I used to go with him when I was a little kid, and I used to watch him and the way he would treat. I mean, and he had a schlepper kind of job. I mean, he was a salesman selling pillows and comforters, but I used to watch the way he would talk and treat people. And, I learned how to talk and treat people.
Yeah.
And, that's, I think, the biggest difference, where, you get a rep that calls me and says, can you call this guy and find out what his problem is? Why can't you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Talk to him.
Yeah. How about this? Just ask questions.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then when you don't have the answers, you go, you know what? I don't know. but I'm going to find out for you.
Right. You know,
100%. 100%.
But I'll tell you what, I got younger. I like not young, but like, you know, coming into adulthood children, and I watch them ask questions, and I'm like, really, you can't figure this out? Like, you know, it's.
Well, yeah. I mean, I also learned in my. That's all. I mean, I started out as a CPA, right, and then I left CPA because that to me was like ridiculous. And then I went into the office products business, and what I learned, I mean, I learned I never say no, never, because no matter what we do as salespeople, there isn't just one source for everything we do.
Right.
There's not one machine manufacturer. There's not one POS company. You know, you always have choices.
That dovetails with your education, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
really
does.
Understanding the best salespeople I've ever seen are the ones that really know their industry,
right,
their product, how it differs, how it doesn't. You know, like, it's people with a great knowledge base, even if what they're doing is sales, right?
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, but I also believe that in order to be good at what you do, you don't necessarily have to know all about your industry and how it works and how to do things. Because I think that if you're really good at what you do, you'll find that medium, you know, that where you can get done what somebody's asking you to do.
No, I get it. My great uncle Bill, was a traveling salesman after World War II in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. We lived. My dad's family's from Michigan. He's on my dad's side, and he had the greatest jokes, right? Like clean jokes,
right?
Yeah, and I know that when he went in and out of places that he sold. Yeah. And he was selling like tchotchke type stuff. I just know that he was a great salesman because he was funny. He was engaging.
Yep.
He remembered your name.
Yep.
Right. Especially traveling sales. Remembered what you ordered last time or something about your family, something you told, you know. And that kind of thing these days.
No, you don't see that these days.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So
some of this, what you guys are talking about, it feels generational.
It is.
Yeah.
You're talking about Generation Z and how they're so into their phones, they can't have that conversation. What you guys are talking about, it's soft skills. It's being able to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of people don't have it anymore.
I had a rep who, for 60 days in a row, didn't sell a thing. And then he comes to me and he says, how long will 0 be an option? And I looked at him, I said, you think it's an option now?
I would look at him and go, shouldn't you be asking that in the mirror?
I mean, I said to him, you know, if I were you, I'd call your grandmother and have her open up an account. But he quit 2 days later.
Yeah, I don't.
You know, I mean, I think he got the message.
No. Like it's funny. Like I say this to. So I've been divorced, and I always say to people like, look, it takes 2 to tango, and you know, anybody who's sitting there complaining about their former spouse or soon to be former spouse is usually not looking in the mirror as to like what the takes 2 was.
Right.
But I learned quickly through my divorce that if you're going to say something and you're the only person that's going to be impacted by it, just get in front of the mirror.
Right? Don't say it.
Or just don't say it.
Or just don't say it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's, you know, so I mean, there's, you know, we were talking about the race to 0.
Yeah.
You know, I think that when a rep goes in and let's say they sell an account at, I don't know, 3 and 3. They're not going to make any money at 3 and 3. You know, and I tell people all the time, I said, look, if that's what you want, I'm more than happy to do it for you. But if you have a problem, don't call me.
Yeah.
And they go, what do you mean don't call you? I said, if I'm not, I mean, everybody has to make money.
Yeah.
You know, I used to do business with a law firm in Washington, D.C. And the office manager, and it was a big law firm. I mean, they did like hundreds of thousands of dollars with me a month. She would always say to me, are you making enough money? Are you doing okay? And nobody ever said that to me.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of nice to know. You know, but now I you know, there's certain merchants, groups of merchants that they want it for free. And that may never may never change. And, I mean, I tell my reps all the time, I said, sometimes just got to fire a merchant.
Yeah, you'll get no loyalty from that.
No.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Or you can look at it and you discount everything that I'm doing.
Right. I mean, there's no, I feel lucky that I've dealt with a lot of the same merchants for 25 years. And they refer me to business all the time. And that business is business that sticks with me, and I don't have to think twice about it. And then there's other business that you go into and you really have to earn their trust. And I get that because, again, these poor people have been lied to for years. And, and there's still a lot of reps out there that tell the lies.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do. And, if you're going to continue to do that, you're not going to go very far. It's like, we tell people, live by price, die by price. Because if I go in to sell a merchant, for saving a dime, if somebody comes in and saves them a penny, they're going to move.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. We should, and that's the other thing that we talk about, what can be done. Believe in what you do and show value for what you do. If you don't show any value, I mean, it's you might as well not be doing it.
Exactly.
Things like, I where a merchant, they had issues and they were running the knuckle buster because they had internet issues. And I had a merchant with 5 days worth of carbons that needed to be entered. And I took them from them. I took a terminal home with me and I sat there one entire weekend and processed everything for them. I didn't think twice about it. I just did it. And those are the things that people appreciate.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I tell, like if I'm dealing with a restaurant, I would say to them, your job is to create this atmosphere and put great food on the table. My job is to make sure that you get paid properly and efficiently.
Yeah.
You do your job, let me do mine. And they're all good with that because, Joe Blow, the mechanic, he knows how to fix cars.
Yep.
He doesn't know anything about technology other than what he deals with, So those are the things that you have to be cognizant
Same
of.
thing with lawyers. They know a lot about the law, but they don't always necessarily understand business.
Well, yeah, It's interesting that you say that because my son will tell me all the time. He said, Dad, I could do what you do. I couldn't even begin to have a conversation. He's a lawyer and he does IP. And I've listened to some of those conversations.
No. Look, I tell people all the time when we get into business terms on agreements, and they want feedback on the business terms, I'm like, if I did that, I might as well be doing what you're doing,
right?
Because at that point in time, I should just own an ISO.
Well,
so I leave that to the pros.
When I ask him, like, a legal thing, Dad, it's not my area of expertise. It's like Watchdog is registered and trademarked, which I was very excited about. But he didn't do it. And he's an IP attorney. He recommended me a law firm in Connecticut. 18 months later and a huge bill, but it got done. I mean, I was tickled pink by that.
Should have called me. Would have been a lot cheaper.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
I didn't know you then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I thank you for the conversation today because I appreciate it. I think that this is a wealth of information for viewers.
Will I be able to watch this?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You'll send me the link.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then it'd probably be a couple of them, but
all right.
Just wanted to say thanks, Mitch. And
my pleasure.
This is Mitchell Riesberg from Watchdog Merchants.
Riceberg. Right, Riceberg.
It's
Oh, see, I
Riesberg.
did it again.
You did it again.
Don't interrupt me. Sorry, this is
Jeremiah.
Yeah, so this is Mitchell Riesberg from Watchdog Merchant Services based in New York. And just want to say thanks a lot for coming on and
my pleasure.
Sharing all the information you did.
Thanks.
All right, perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. Visit us online today at globallegallawfirm.com. Matters discussed are all opinions and do not constitute legal advice. All events or likeness to real people and events is a coincidence.